Peace before us, peace behind us, peace under our feet. Peace within us, peace over us, let all around us be peace. Love before us, love behind us, love under our feet. Love within us, love over us, let all around us be love.
At ngayon po, para sa ating recap, tinatawagan po si Mrs. Donna Aquino para sa recap ngayong hapon na ito.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. So I am Donna Aquino from Subic National High School, Schools Division of Zambales, and I was tasked to give the recap for this afternoon session. So earlier, we have the brilliant Professor Rene C. Romero as our speaker, and about values education in the new context, or what we call the 21st century. Professor Romero pointed out that Philippines is known to be a leader in values education, as we have the late Dr. Lourdes Isumbing as the founding president. He also shared the advocacy of UNESCO and APNIV as both ethical and international organization and to attain global citizenship. He made mention of the importance of teaching-learning cycle, which we teachers have to develop among our learners. These processes are knowing, understanding, valuing, and acting. Professor Romero also encouraged us teachers and educators to change our mindset, not to be contented with only pen and paper, but also use qualitative approach. He stressed that schools are considered effective when there is an evident advocacy and living out of our good manners and right conduct, peace education, gender education, human rights and sustainable development, and conflict resolutions. And that's all for the recap. Thank you.
Ayan, maraming salamat po. O, ready na po ba tayo para sa ating pang-anim na session? So let me introduce to you, maraming salamat po pala Mrs. Aquino sa recap. Ngayon po, let me introduce to you our speaker for this afternoon. Our speaker is a currently professor of sociology, anthropology, Rizal, Peace Education, and full-time regular faculty member of the Department of International Studies at Far Eastern University. He received his Master's of Arts in Asian Studies major in Asia, such as China, Japan, and Korea, and his Doctorate of Philosophy in the Philippine Studies from University of the Philippines, Diliman. His dissertation is focused on peace education in the Philippines. In addition to teaching, our speaker is the UNESCO APNIV Philippines Vice President and concurrently founding member, Peace Guru, Peace Council Head and Chair of the Competition for Peace Essay Writing of Angel C. Palanca Peace Program Foundation, Incorporated. Furthermore, he is also a board member of Catholic Stewards, Operation Incorporated and Climate Reality Project, leader, coordinator, trained by former US President Al Gore. He is currently very much involved in the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Manila as Vicariate Coordinator of the Ministry on Health Care and Parish Coordinator for Education, Environment, and Disaster Response Ministry of the Minor Basilica and National Shrine of San Lorenzo Ruiz de Manila. After his 19-year career as peace educator, our speaker had been recently busy conducting training courses and facilitating seminar workshops for peace educators in the university belt, national and international arena. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Wilson Chua.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Kaya lang medyo mahina po, sir.
Medyo mahina.
Ayan po,
Okay.
sir.
Ayan. Okay na? Malakas na ba?
Okay pa, sir.
Okay. Thank you for that generous introduction. And I hope everybody is in the state of peace right now, in spite of what we are having right now, the pandemic. I hope we are all in our pink of health. So first, I would like to thank also our energetic and masipag na regional coordinator. Let's give him a virtual applause. Si Sir Floyd Aquino for his job well done. Floyd, ngayon ko lang naalala, I'll send you yung tonight na lang siguro kasi busy. The one you requested for tonight.
Yes, Pastor. Thank you.
O kasi kakagaling ko lang sa another webinar coming here. So, tapos may video pa ako for the ministry. So, medyo dikit-dikit ang schedule. Okay. And of course, without his energetic idea and his work, this will not be a possibility. So, all of us are here because of that marvelous work done by Sir Floyd Aquino. Okay, so for my topic for today, okay, can you see my slides?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, sige. Ayun, hinihingal pa ako. Kasi nag-video, nakakapagod yung video. The topic is global education, transformative education. I changed it a little bit, up for peace. That is synergies for peace. This time, we are up for peace. So there are three topics that I will be talking with you. Global education, transformative, and what's up for peace. So these two combined together, hopefully, will give us a peaceful world. And that international man of peace is none other than Dr. Jose Rizal. And he's smiling at us. Okay. So I put his picture there because he's also considered an international figure. No? He's throughout the world, everywhere in Europe. No? And in Asia, there was a time that they even want to borrow him as a national hero. Can you imagine? Malaysia was borrowing him. Saka nakarinig noon, ni-importa yung ating national hero. Because his ideals are not just Asian. It's universal. So his ideas are liberal and everything. That's why it's even transformative. No? That's why he's a global figure, a global icon. He's well known. He's the only, I think, hero who is well known throughout the world and his ideas are accepted. Other heroes, their ideas are only accepted in their own country, appreciated. However, si Rizal, no, si Rizal is everywhere. His ideas, because he learned it, of course, from Europe, with the air of Europe and the air of liberal ideas, and then applying it to Asia, to the Philippines, is well known. Okay, that is why he will be with us. And of course, we are also, I'm very proud also to be descendant on his Chinese side, no? So Rizal was Chinese. So kami yung Chinese side. He is also the Kwa, no? His real Chinese name is Kwa Inam. So that Kwa and Chua Association are one. That's why every year we send our delegates to his tombstone of his great-great-grandfather, Domingo Lamco, who is formerly Kwa Inam. So he came to the Philippines, was baptized, and after baptism, he changed his name from Kwa Inam to Domingo Lamco. So he transferred from Manila after being baptized in Binondo Church. He transferred to Binyan, and from Binyan he went to Calamba. And from there on, the roots of the family trickled down, no, during that time. So that is the background of Dr. Jose Rizal on his Chinese side. Okay, you will notice also there is another thing is that his ideas are also not only global but also transformative, and he's a man of peace. Before we start, I would like to, this is not a prayer, but it's a sort of reminder for all of us. GMRC, values, ESP, the edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, educators, let us remind ourselves that to leave behind not only our footprints, but also our heartprints in this life. We are reminded, therefore, that we are not teaching a subject. We are teaching about life. And when you teach about life, you touch on the heart. That's our founding president, Dr. Lourdes Quisumbing, would always say, and I always would quote her, that the education of the heart is the heart of education. And that's very important that we have to leave some imprints of the heart, call it heart prints, in the life of our students. And educators of GMRC and values education, you're so privileged to be able to enter into the hearts of your students because of what you're teaching. Kaya don't take it for granted. Huwag niyo maliitin ang inyong tinuturo. Huwag niyo sabihin, ay ano lang yan, GMRC lang yan. Ay ano lang yan, values education lang yan. No. You are helping form a person locally, globally, because once they go abroad, then they become a global entity. And once they bring with them what they have learned from you in GMRC and what they have learned from you in values education, then that will be our success. That they remember at least one that was planted in their heart. That you have left a heart prints that they will bring with them wherever they go, because they learned it from you. Okay, so take a look at peace. So I think we are from different areas of the Philippines here, and you can see your language, their vernacular there. So peace in Tagalog is kapayapaan, and then in Hiligaynon it is paghidait. In Bicol, it is katoninongan. In Maranao, it's kalilintad. In Waray, it's kamurayaw. And for Chapacano, which is broken Spanish, so it's really Spanish word, paz, no? Paz means peace. And in Iloco, kapia. Ibanag, imamo. And for the Visayan region, we have Kalinao. Okay, now may I ask you the new name for peace? Ano ngayon ang bagong pangalan sa peace? Our Tagalog word for peace. It's not anymore kapayapaan. There's a new name for peace. You know? Have you heard about it? There is a new name for peace na hindi na kapayapaan is an old translation for the English word peace. There is a new name now. You will see figure here as a swan and a turtle. The swan is above the turtle, and you will see that The swan who is above the turtle is a symbol for the Chinese of heaven on earth. That is peace. So the swan represents heaven and the turtle represents earth. So heaven and earth. Of course, heaven on earth is none other than peace. Let's get back to my previous question. So ano ngayon ang bagong pangalan ng kapayapaan? Sirit na ba? So ito na. Yun. I think you're very familiar with this, no? Am I right? So all of you know this, no? Salamat. Kala natin, pag sinabi natin salamat, we are just thanking the person. No. Pag sinabi natin salamat, we are actually invoking peace to the person. Because it came from the Arabic word, we thank our Muslim brothers. Salam, no, means peace. So salamat is invoking peace to the person. So sinasabi natin na hindi lang ako nagpapasalamat, binibigyan pa kita ng kapayapaan. Okay? So tell that to the person beside you. If there's somebody beside you, you say, Salam at. With reverence, no? With reverence. Kasi so ngayon, hindi ka na, salamat. Pag gano'n ka lang, hindi. Malalim na ngayon ang pagsabi mo ng word. Kasi malalim na ang pag-intindi mo, no? You know already it is salam, Jerusalem, no? Jerusalem. Jeru means city, and salam means peace. The city of peace. Jerusalem is a city of peace. And hopefully, sana bilang GMRC teachers and bilang values education teachers, at the end of the day, what we teach them will give them peace, isn't it? That's our goal every day, every meeting, na ang mga bata, pag natuto, they attain peace. Yun naman, di ba? Ako, when I learn something, then I feel so peaceful because I learned something and I can bring it to our house and talk about it with my parents and be proud that I learned something. Hindi nasayang kanilang tuition fee. Okay, so let's move on. So let's take a look at this. Medyo parang daluyong ngayon ang coronavirus, no? Taas ng pataas, and then of course, pero makikita mo, these are just quotable quotes that sometimes we have to reflect upon, no? Pride is concerned with who is right, while humility is concerned with what is right. Okay? So hindi sino ang tama, kung hindi ano ang tama. And humility is the basic component of peace. You can never be peaceful unless you're humble, no? Kailangan meron kang humbleness. And that's the time you'll be able to understand, practice, and deepen your understanding of peace. So kahit na anong lakas ng challenge in life, if you're humble, you will survive. Next, I want to, I don't know if everybody knows this, kasi medyo may age age bracket.
Yes.
O yung desiderata.
Desiderata.
Yeah, this is beautiful. The message is beautiful. I think this is how I will explain, how I will define peace, desiderata. At napansin ninyo, ano yung napansin yung nilagay kong picture dyan? Hindi ko nilagay yan, parang nilagay ko lang yan. Ha? Nilagay ko yan because it has a meaning. Oh, do you know that, no? That is a burial jar.
Urn.
Yeah, it's a urn, no? Or jar. Kasi malaki yun, no? Malaki-laki yan. And you will notice, dalawa, yan. Sino yung mga anong sinasakyan nila? They're riding on a boat. And that is the way they go to the next life. Our prehistoric ancestors would ride on a boat to go to the next life. And what's boat in Tagalog? Hindi naman bota, no? Joke only. Bangka. So, yung pupunta na sa next life, anong tawag sa kanya na nakasakay sa bangka? Bangkay. That is why bangkay ang tawag natin sa mga namamatay. Kasi ang mga sinauna nating ninuno, sumasakay sa bangka papunta sa next life. Oh, di ba? That's anthropology. That's cultural anthropology. To understand that sumasakay sila sa bangka
Sir, nawala yung sound niyo, sir. Na
Yes.
Yan.
Meron kumukontra. Kasi malalim yung ating usapan. Oh yeah, kailangan nagdadasal talaga. Okay, so bangkay, no? So yan ang tawag natin. So pag sinabi natin, ay, bangkay na siya, patay na. At peace na, hopefully. So let's read, go placidly amid the noise and haste and remember what peace there may be in silence. Okay, so peace occurs in silence. No, when you are silent, then you might be able to acquire or experience a little of peace. Kasi sobrang ingay, ba? Maingay na sa labas, maingay pa sa loob, ang ingay-ingay sa kapaligiran natin, walang peace. So silence is very important, and silence is time for you to be able to think about so many things. Because if you are so noisy inside and outside, wala hindi ka makapag-isip na maayos, hindi ka pa makapag-decide na maayos. So the first prerequisite of peace is to silence yourself and be in the stillness posture. So be still. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Diba? So that's GMRC. No, that is why we are teaching our students GMRC, because we want them to be relational people. Because life is relational. Dapat marunong silang maging tao at marunong magpapakatao at marunong makipagkapwa-tao. Next, speak your truth quietly and clearly. So I would like to pick out that word, truth. So peace would only come about if there is truth. Ngayon, kawawa yung mga kabataan sa social media, ang daming fake news, naguguluhan na sila kung anong tama. Even for us, there's so much untruthfulness everywhere, anywhere and everywhere that we go, lalo na sa social media, ang daming mga fake and everything. Kaya mahirap na talaga ngayon. But without truth, there will be no peace. Kaya nga, bawal magsinungaling. Kasi pag nagsinungaling ka, kaysa ito'y white, blue, black lies, lies pa rin yun. And it hurts people, lalo na pag sa mga boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Pag nagsinungaling ka, ang sakit. Bakit kaya? Ba't kaya masakit? Siguro nasasagot nyo, sinasagot nyo, naririnig ko mga sagot nyo. Dahil, di ba, parang hindi siya nagtiwala sa iyo. Hindi yung sinungalingan ang ginawa niya eh. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya nagtiwala. Masakit yun hindi ka pa pinagkatiwalaan. Kasi when you trust, you tell the truth. No matter what it is, how hurting it is, you will still tell the truth because you love the person and you trust the person. Kaya ang sakit-sakit ng mga taong pinagsisinungalingan dahil nasira yung tiwala na bakit hindi mo ako pinagkatiwalaan, ang baba ng tingin mo sa akin, ba? Sayang, no? So truth is very important. Kaya we have to be truthful, honest, because that is part of giving peace to other people. And they will, if you're a very truthful person, then you'll also be a harbinger of peace. And listen to others, yun. Kasi madami nagdadaldal, no? Mas maraming daldal kaysa makinig. Kaya nga, ang ginawa, anong binigay sa atin? 2 tenga, 1 bibig. Kasi, 2 beses tayo makikinig, 1 beses lang tayo magdadaldal. Can you imagine kung 1 lang tenga natin? Ano kaya, sura natin kung 1 lang tenga? 1 tenga natin sa harapan pa, di sa harapan ng ulo. So, magaling din, maganda ang ginawa ng Diyos. 2 tenga, you have twice listening, and once talking. Even the dull and ignorant. See? So we listen to, especially our students, no? We listen to them. Kahit na yung dull, saka ignorant, yung late bloomers, no? Wala na mahina eh. Kulang lang talaga sa encouragement. No? Kulang lang sa langis para sila ay umandar ng mabilis. Story. So let's listen, especially for GMRC and values education teachers. We really have to listen to the stories of our students, especially now in the pandemic, no? Kasi virtual. So sana marinig din natin, pakinggan din natin ang kanilang mga kwento, kung ano nangyayari sa bahay. Baka may nangyayari na hindi mo natin alam, turo pa tayo ng turo. Yung bata naman devastated na. Okay? under the victim of violence, domestic violence. We should be sensitive to that. And sometimes it comes out in a story. You don't tell it straightforward, but tell it as in a form of a story. And later on, we'll talk about that in form as our way of gauging whether they have learned our concept of GMRC and values education through reflection. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. Ayun. They are vexatious into the spirit. Yun. Eh, iba naman kasi binabangga pa. Diba? Huwag niyo nang papansinin kasi if you don't allow them to influence you, they will never influence you. No matter how strong they are or how loud and how much shout they make, they won't influence you because you don't allow. If you compare yourself with others, ayun mahirap. We should not be comparing ourselves because we have our own uniqueness. If we start comparing, then we belittle ourselves. Kasi, ba't may nahanap yung wala sa iyo? Hindi mo hanapin yung nasa iyo. Ayun. And and you may become bitter or vain. Ayun na nga, no? That's the negative consequences of comparing yourself. For always, there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. See? So always look at your uniqueness. Find out who you are and where is your strengths. And there you improve it, and there you will have your success. Kaya nga, we teachers should be able to lead, no? To journey with the students to find who they are and what they are capable of becoming. And that's part of GMRC. Kaya naman may mga values, values education subject, kasi to teach them what to do, to teach them how to be, and to teach them how to live together. Libro yan ng UNESCO. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Yun. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. So it doesn't have to be big plans, big achievements. Kahit na maliit lang, it's already an achievement. It depends on your experience of what it is. So achievement naman at saka success in your career depends on how you define success. Kasi minsan, kahit na maliit na bagay lang, success na yun. Di ba? Mag-CR ka lang, success na din yun. Di ba? Nailabas mo yung mga toxic materials, yung iba nga hindi makalabas, constipated. O ikaw, lagi mo lalabas, di ba success yun? Di ba yun? Yun naman ang simple success story. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. And again, humility is the game for peace. The name of the game is humility. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Again, I would like to underscore that word virtue. So tayong mga GMRC, values, peace, education, and edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, our goal is what? Finally, to end up with teaching virtue. Kasi from views, we change the views, the wrong views, and then we add the correct values. And once they keep on practicing the values, then they definitely in the future, they become virtuous person. Virtue will come in. And next, many persons strive high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Ayun. So heroism, yan. To be a hero, what is it to be a hero? To be a hero is, hindi naman kailangan maging bayani katulad ni Dr. Jose Rizal and Andres Bonifacio. Ang mga kabayanihan ngayon ay when you do something without waiting for anything in return. Gumagawa ka isang bagay na hindi ka naghihintay ng anumang kapalit. Gusto mo lang talagang gawin kasi mahal mo ang iyong kapwa. That already is a bayani. Bayanihan. Kasi gusto mo lang talagang tumulong at hindi ka naghihintay ng anumang kapalit. Pag hindi ka naghihintay ka ng kapalit, hindi na bayani yon. Diba? May kapalit eh. Like sa bayanihan, nagkakarga ng bahay, kinakarga nila. Diba hindi mo binabayaran yon? Libre lang yon, pero at least paano mo sila, ano mo tawag ito? Merienda, bigyan mo ng konting merienda. Pero hindi mo pwede bayaran. Pag binayaran mo, hindi na bayanihan yun, bayaran yun. So, kailangan bayanihan. So, bayanihan means walang bayaran o di ka maghihintay ng kabayaran. You're just doing it. And we have to teach that to the high school students because that is part of who they are, no? And to love their country is also part of your nationalism is being the service without waiting for anything in return. Sana matutunan natin, hindi yung kabig tayo ng kabig. Kaya tayo tumutulong kasi meron tayong gustong matamo. Okay, be yourself. Ayun, very important. And each person is unique. So if you want to have peace, just be yourself. Do not imitate others. Do not compete with others. Ba't ka compete na compete? Ano bang problema, di ba? Dapat di ka nako-compete. Be yourself. Understand who you are and what are your strengths so that you'll be able to bloom. Kumbaga sa science, go, grow, and glow. So you will glow because you are being yourself. Wala kang wala kang ini-imitate. You're just being who you are. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love. Ayun, pumasok na yung salitang love. So don't be cynical about love. You have to understand what love is all about. We will talk about the languages of love that you will be using also as a strategy to push the values education subject and also the concepts that you want to teach. And of course, in Filipino, dalawang translation natin ng love, isn't it? Di ba? Yun. Ano yung translation natin? Pag-ibig, yung isa naman, pagmamahal. So magkaparehas ba yon? Sabi ng mga psychologists, hindi. Kasi iba yung inibig, iba yung minahal. Pag inibig, parang pag Valentine's Day, binigyan ka lang ng isang bulaklak, isang rose. Tapos sa kabilang kwarto, binigyan naman niya ng isang bouquet. So ikaw, inibig, pero siya minahal. So wag masyadong long hair pagka binigyan ng isang piraso lang. Ano? Parang feeling mo, ikaw na talagang minamahal. No. Inibig ka, pero meron siya minamahal. In other words, kung lima inibig mo, isa lang pipiliin mo. Yun ang mamahalin mo. Because authorities, psychologists will say, inibig is defined as, inibig is feelings, while pagmamahal is decision. So, pwede kang umibig, pero isa lang iyong mamahalin. Pwede kang tatlong iibigin mo, pipili ka ng isa as your lifetime partner. So that's the difference between pag-ibig and pagmamahal. Kasi pag-ibig, root word, ibig, parang may ibig lang kunin sa iyo, no? Pagmamahal, the root word, salitang ugat ay mahal. Ibig sabihin, you have a value. So, mataas na ang tingin niya sa iyo. Mahal ka niya. Kasi mahal ka rin. Hindi ka cheap. Okay, so face in all the aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. So that is what the author would define love. Take kindly the counsel of the years. Yun, importante is, which, if you want peace, you should reconcile with your past. Hindi pwede na iwan mo yung, pag minahal ka ng isang tao, hindi pwede sabihin niya na, oy, mahal ko lang pangkasalukuyan mo, dirindiri ako sa nakaraan mo. Hindi pwede yun. Kailangan, pag minahal ka niya, minahal din niya yung yesteryears. At saka minahal din niya yung present. At lalong mamahalin niya yung kinabukasan. So 3 tenses ang pagmamahal. So minamahal kita hindi lang sa kasalukuyan, mahal din kita na iyong mga nakalipas, pinamahal ko yan, pinatawad ko na yan, sapagkat buo ang aking pagmamahal sa iyo. Hindi kita iniibig, minamahal kita. For in the face of aridity, take kindly, gracefully surrendering the things of use. Yun. So, it's nice to teach in the high school. No, ako started teaching in the high school. So sa Ateneo High School, puro lalaki doon. First day ko nga binaliktad na yung lamesa ko eh. Buti na lang I was in my the Holy Spirit came down on me. Oh, first day of class ko nakabaliktad yung kasi sa Ateneo meron siyang platform. So yung lamesa ko binaligtad nila. Talagang pinainit ang ulo ko. Pero buti na lang bumaba Holy Spirit, hindi ako nagalit. At sabi ko, wow! Kasi honors class yun. Andun si Father Manuling Francisco, andun si Norman Agatep, if you know Father Manuling Francisco. He's now a musician, Jesuit musician. Mga estudyante ko yan sa high school, and then binaliktad nila. And then sabi ko, wow! May naisip ka agad ako, kundi sasabog yung buong year ko noon. They were in second year, and I was teaching Philippine history. And then sabi ko, wow, this class is so intelligent, so creative. No? And ako nakakita nakabaliktad na table ng teacher. So I arrange it. I just put my things on the platform. And you know what they did? Sabi nila, my God, sila nang umakyat. Nice nila yung lamesa ko, kinuha nila yung gamit ko, nilagay nila sa lamesa. Ayun. Sabi ng ibang mga faculty later, when I went back to the coffee room, sabi, hoy, buti na lang. Sabi niya, hindi ka nag-react. Hindi, it will be hell out of the year for you because they really want you to react negatively. But you did it well. Pasado ka na sa initiation. So, yun pala yun. So, therefore, we should not be, that kind of gracefully surrendering the things of the youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. No? And that strength of the spirit is none other than humility and peace. But do not distress yourself with imaginings. Marami tayo na imagine. Yung mga bata, yung mga high school students, they are very imaginative. No? Marami silang naiisip na minsan nakakatulong, minsan naman nakaka-distract. So we have to know how to teach them to control the imaginations. No? Not to stifle, no? Because imagination is part of creativity. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Tama. Marami tayong takot. Ang takot naman hindi na natatanggal eh. Ang ginagawa ng psychology sa takot ay how you will manage fears. They cannot take away your fears. Just be able to manage fears. And sometimes your fears are unnecessary fears. And that takes away your peacefulness. Sayang naman, tagal-tagal mo natakot. Wala naman dapat katakutan. Ikaw ang sariling gumawa ng multo. So, bawasan na natin multo sa buhay. Beyond the wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. Yun, diba? Yan, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful phrase, no? That phrase itself is be gentle with yourself. Sometimes we are so harsh with ourselves. That's why we cannot find peace. No? Dami natin iniisip natin na mali tayo, na tayo may kasalanan, na ganyan, ang daming guilt. That's not being gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe. Ito na yung famous line. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. See? So when you are at peace, so many things will happen. So many possibilities, so many opportunities na na-miss mo kasi you are so unpeaceful. That is why peace, dapat yan din na ating ibigay sa ating mga estudyante. Tinuturuan natin sila ng GMRC and values education because at the end of the day, we want them, and you yourself, ikaw din, you will also attain peace because you saw that your students are growing, not only in physically, no, in age also, but emotionally and especially our heart prints. Therefore, be at peace with God. Yun. And remember this, peace is not given by human beings. Kahit asawa mo, boyfriend mo, hindi naman niya magbigay ng kapayapaan sa iyo. Diyos. Mas maganda ang kapayapaan ng Diyos. Kasi it lives forever. And you know what do you call the peace given to you by God? Marami naman yata sa inyo mga Catholic schools, no? You're teaching in Catholic schools. Ano yung peace of God? Anong tawag doon? 3 words. Ayun. So, andyan pa ba kayo? Okay. So, 3 words yon, no? Ang tawag doon ay joy. J-O-Y. Joy. But joy, kasi Jesus, others, and you. So, Jesus first, J. Then O is others, second, and you are third. So, huwag niyo babalita rin yun. Pag pinaligtad nyo, Yod, magiging you na, sunod ng others, last na si God, babaliktad din ang mundo mo. And you will not acquire peace. So, the peace of God is joy. Hindi yan happiness, ha? Iba yung happiness. Happiness is kaligayahan. Joy is kagalakan. At wala sa Bible yung kaligayahan, ang nakalagay sa Bible, kagalakan. Okay? Joy. So again, I would like to remind you that the peace of God is joy. Whatever you conceive him to be and whatever you labor, your aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. That is very important. Sana our peace will not rest only in our heart, but in our soul. So tatlo yon. It has to rest in our mind, in our heart, and in our soul. And of course, hindi ko na makita. Ayun. With all these shams, tragedy, and brokenness, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. See? So, positivity is the name of the game now, especially in this pandemic period. Kailangan talaga natin to be positive. And we have to transfer that. Pag tayo negative, mahirap mag-transfer ng positive, isn't it? So, kailangan tayo din muna ang magbago. Transformation of the teachers should happen first before the transformation of the students. If we are not transformed by peace, then definitely we will not be we will not be transferring positiveness to our students. Okay, so what is being happy? Being happy doesn't mean you have everything you want. It's more about being thankful for everything you have. See? So, naintindihan ba yan? So, happiness is not what you want. It is what you have that you're thankful for. Alam nyo, minsan ito yung lagi na may miss out natin ngayon sa pandemic, no? Nasa bahay tayo, wala tayong magawa, ang dami nating gustong gawin, pero hindi natin magawa. Dahil, tapos isip tayo na isip, ang dami nating katakutan, ang virus and everything, na mahawa, whatever. Pero sometimes you have to rest for a while. Yan, pahinga, tapos alay, magnilay-nilay. Kaya sa amin, in the Ministry of Healthcare, pinauso ko yung pahingalay. Pahinga at pagninilay. So sana meron tayong time. So if you do that, yung nagpapahinga at nagninilay, kung bakit nangyayari ito sa atin, at ano ang purpose, anong meaning, everything has a meaning. And we find it, we discover it, we explore it, God will show us what's the meaning of this lockdown in our homes. Why are we together again after so many years of being in one roof, but we don't know each other? And this is the time now for us to rewind and to unwind with one another. And to be thankful that we are still alive. Marami na po ang nabiktima, marami nang nahawa. Tayo, 5 months na buhay pa rin tayo at healthy pa rin. And that is something we have to be thankful about. That is what we have. Because God is protecting us, keeping us safe, and not making us suffer. Like those na lalagyan ng ventilator, lalagyan ng intubation, oh my God. No? Na pag pinasok ka sa ospital, abo na lang, makikita. So, hindi yan nangyayari. And that itself is already a gift. No? We should be happy already that our family is not infected. Our family is still around and we are still together. Yan. Napansin nyo, meron akong butterfly. Kasi yung butterfly na yan is sabi ko mamaya kung anong meaning ng butterfly sa akin as my symbol of peace. O nakita ba niyo yung picture? Peaceful ba yan? O naliligali kayo pag nakita niyo yan? Pag nakita ko yan, parang naalala ko si Simba, no? Doon sa movie na Simba. Napanood ko ulit kahapon. So, I think I have defined already what peace is all about. So I want you to do something, reflect a little bit. I want you to get a piece of paper and write down, I will make peace present in my life by, bahala na kayo magdugtong. So yun, complete the sentence. So what do you want to do so that you will have peace present in your life? In your family, perhaps, with your students, perhaps, with your school, anywhere that you want the presence of peace. So kayo na magdugtong kung ano yung gustong ilagay dyan. Okay? So, let me go back a little bit. So, ano sinabi natin sa peace? Peace is about what? Silence. So, kung may truth, may humility, merong ano pa ba yun? Yeah, yung memories, okay, and all of that. And we are freed from fears. So yan ang definition natin. That is desiderata. That's why this is a very classical understanding what life is all about. And I'm connecting it to peace. Okay? So with that, tapos na tayo sa meaning of peace education. No? So kung gusto niyo pang palilimin yan, eh, invite niyo na lang ako sa, sa iba pang, meron deepening of peace. Parang pahapyaw lang, parang patikim lang naman yan. Just to make you understand as a peace educator, kasi I've been a peace educator for 20 years, no? Since I was co-founder ng Angel C. Palanca Peace Program Foundation Incorporated. We started as a peace subject, tapos naging peace center, tapos naging peace foundation. Okay, so if you answer that, that's lagay niyo yan mamayang gabi, basa-basahin ninyo, at tanungin niyo sarili niyo, ano nagbibigay sa inyo ng kapayapaan? Salamat. Now we go to the next topic, global education for peace. So ano naman yung global? So from local, let's now go to the global. No, that means outside. These are the concepts of Dr. Toshio Yin, if you know him, UNESCO Prize for Peace Education awardee in 2000. I've been trained by him also when I attended my first time to attend 2000 in the year 2001. I attended one of his seminars, training seminars at Miriam College. So kami yung first batch na na-train ni Dr. Toshio Yin. You can't control how some people will treat you or what they will say about you, but you can control how you can react to it. See? That's how, because if you talk global, you will be now getting into the concept of relational, our relationship with others. So, how do we relate with others? Ito importante sa mga estudyante, no? Ito yung problema, yung para mahinto yung mga bullying, yung mga violence in the classroom and outside of the classroom, because people are treating them the way they want them to be treated, no? But how can you control? You can control it in the way you will not allow these people to influence or victimize you. And that is that we have to be cautious on this. We have to see this in the context of our students, no? Sino mga binubully, sino mga binivictimize, no? Kasi meron ding school violence, classroom violence. And sometimes pa nga, wag naman sana, tayo pang values educator ang nag-initiate ng violence. Sana wag naman, no? Because lagi na nakatingin sa atin, we have to be the epitome of what we are teaching. Values education and GMRC. Okay, so let's take a look at the peace issues of Dr. Toshio Yin. No? So this will be global na. No? We are now getting into global education. So the first one is, The first one is inner peace. So why is inner peace very important? Kasi nga, kahit sa atin, no? If you want to teach GMRC values, kailangan you are at peace. No, kasi you cannot force that to somebody. You cannot force values to others, but you can teach them. And how do you do it? We'll take that up later. Pero importante sa lahat ng values education teachers, peace educators, GMRC educators, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, yan pagpapakatao nga eh. Kailangan meron kang inner peace. Kasi gagamitin mo yan para hindi ka marattle. Katulad sa akin, no? Pero at the time, hindi ko naman alam inner peace pala yung dala-dala ko, no? Hindi ako nag-overreact. Hindi ako nagalit na, walang hiya kayo, ba't binaliktad niyo yung lamesa ko? First day pa naman natin, gugulo nyo. Di ba? So hindi ko na ginawa yun dahil meron na tayo. I'm very thankful that the Lord gave me that inner peace so that I will not overreact or act not accordingly. So inner peace is very important. And then perhaps we can teach this also to students. No? Kasi ngayon, gulo-gulo, no? Magulo sa bahay, lagi sila nakikita, tapos makikita mo sa virtual classroom, o wala, mapapansin mo, wala siyang peace, no? Lagi siyang natutulog, walang attention, ayaw mag-aral, o yun. Ibig sabihin nun, naliligalig yung ating estudyante because walang inner peace. And sana mabigyan man lamang natin sila ng konti niyan in the process of our being teacher to them. Next is the concept of global education is the culture of violence. There's so much violence around us right now. Domestic violence, community violence, national violence. Nako, dami niya, patayan. And then in the family, nako, ngayong lockdown, ang daming nag-suicide, ang daming rape, ang daming incest because of the lockdown. So how do we dismantle that? Diba? The only way to dismantle the violence is inner peace. Kaya ang daming violence ngayon. Ngayon, yung sinasabog sa Lebanon, yung sa problema ng Jerusalem, peace city pa naman. Kaya ang gulo-gulo. Away sa West Bank, territorial disputes, no? So all of these unpeacefulness, how do we dismantle it? What are we? Anong trabaho, anong role ng isang GMRC teacher at ng isang values education teacher to dismantle the culture of violence and bring out the culture of life, the culture of love, the civilization of love instead of violence. Diba? And Mahatma Gandhi exemplified that in his what? Ahimsa. Yun, kanyang peaceful adherence to dismantle the culture of violence. Kahit na pinapalo na sila, binubugbog sila ng mga British, hindi sila lumalaban, they don't fight back. Ay, mahirap yun. Unless you have inner peace, mahirap gawin yun. Pero they were able to bring to the collapse of the British Empire in India because they were able to sustain that ahimsa, that non-violence stance. So this non-violence is not other than the source, other than inner peace. Kasi we cannot have eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. Mamamatay tayong lahat. Kaya ngayon, in our church, if you are Catholic, meron tayong year of what? Yeah, para narinig ko yung mga sagot. The year of Interreligious Dialogue, Ecumenical Dialogue, and dialogue with the indigenous people. And dialogue is very important for dismantling the culture of violence. Kailan lang may pinatay sa Iloilo. Diba? Yung babae na mark na red tag, no? So this violence can only stop when we are able to dismantle it through our inner peace and our non-violent stance. Kaya kailangan sana we will be able to help out our students how to face violence inside the classroom, violence at home. Yun, sana maisulat nila yun sa reflection paper nila at malaman ninyo para matugunan ninyo kung anong dapat gawin. Okay? So sometimes that will come out when you ask them to write reflection paper. That's why reflection paper is very important. Hindi naman kasi ang ating subject memorization lang eh. Kailangan meron ding heart print. And you can only get into the heart when you ask them for them to reflect. Okay, so that is how we dismantle this culture of violence in all the whole world, no? Globally and locally. So we call it a local attitude of non-violence against the culture of violence. And that is why, and out of this, and how do we do that? We do that by serving one another. So we serve. So tayo maglingkod na walang hinihintay na kabayaran. Yan ang tunay na bayani. Na ikaw ay gumagawa ng isang bagay dahil gusto mong gawin kasi mahal mo ang taong iyong pinaglilingkuran. Okay, so the next one is the next concept that is bringing out into this into light is none other than the living with compassion and justice. If we have inner peace and we are able to dismantle this culture of violence, then we are ready now to get into this living with compassion. What is compassion in Tagalog? It is none other than magiging maawain, mapagbigay. And justice, what is justice? Justice is katarungan. But katarungan, the root word tarung is not Tagalog. It's borrowed from the Visayan. Kasi for the Visayans, may mga Visayan ba dito? I hope I'm correct, na ang tarong means tuwid. So katarungan ay tuwid, katwiran. No? Tuwid. Pag binaluktot mo, nawawala yung katwiran. Nagiging kabalintuanan kasi binaluktot, kabuktutan. And justice is justice. Why do we need to be just? Why do we need to be equal? Why do we need to be fair to one another? Yun, dapat maintindihan natin yung basic essence of justice. To be just is to respect. The key word for justice is respect. We respect the law, we respect human beings, we respect ourselves, as well as we respect others. Kung meron tayong, ang Tagalog sa respect, hindi respeto, Spanish yun. May, ano? So, what is respect in ano? May, yeah. So, respect in Tagalog is, Spanish is respeto, tapos sa Tagalog naman ay, ano kaya?
Paggalang daw po, sir.
Correct. Nako, buti na lang sumasagot si Sir Floyd. Okay, paggalang, may paggalang. Yun importante. So pag ginagalang natin ang kapwa natin, hindi natin sila sasaktan, hindi natin sila pahirapan, hindi natin sila apihin, hindi natin sila gagawa ng masama, kasi ginagalang. So pag may paggalang, may justice, wala nang dapat makulong, wala nang pasaway, dahil gumagalang tayo. Ngayon, very important ang justice, di ba? How do we become just now? Isuot lang na ano? Isuot lang ng face mask, washing of hands, and physical distancing. Ginagalang mo ang buhay. Ginagalang mo ang kapwa mo. Hindi mo siya hahawaan o hindi kanya hahawaan. So just yun. That's being just and justice. And compassion because you're just, because you are a compassionate person. Ano may turo natin sa mga kabataan yan? Na maging compassionate sila. And that for the Buddhists, yan ang kanilang central idea, a compassionate society, a man full of compassion for others. Because compassion for them is love for other person. So if we are promoting culture of life, then we will be living our lives. Ang buhay natin ay very compassionate and very just to others. And the next concept, the next universal concept that is being within the peace issues and concerns of Dr. Toshuin is human rights. So bakit meron tayong human rights portion in our Constitution? What is that for? Para saan ba yung human rights na yan? One word lang, because we want to preserve life. Kaya pag tinanong kayo, ano ang karapatang pantao? Ay di buhay, kasi mahal natin ang buhay, protektahan natin ang buhay, at ginagalang natin ang buhay. Kasi ang pagpatay, ang pagpaslang, ang maging violent ay hindi paggalang sa buhay. So kung talaga, at we are GMRC teachers, we are values education teachers, we have to be promoters of life. We have to protect life, we have to defend life. Ang buhay ng mga batang yan ay unique. Bawat isa sa kanila, very unique. And you have to respect it and promote that life that they have. Especially now, nahirapan yung mga bata sa virtual learnings. Sana we also be compassionate and be just to them when we give them grades, when we treat them through virtual classrooms. Sana maintindihan natin, hindi kung tayo nahihirapan bilang teacher magturo through virtual learning, sila din, hirap na hirap din sila. Gusto talaga nila face-to-face. At iba talaga yung face-to-face kasi mas relational yon kaysa sa virtual. So they are really also undergoing. So if we value their lives, we value who they are and what they are, where they came from, then we will be able to teach them well our subjects in GMRC and values education. And all of this, pag inad mo yung inner peace, dinismantle mo yung culture of violence, tayo bilang educators are with compassion and just to our students because we value their lives and our lives. Therefore, it will bring about cultural unity. And that is none other than dialogue, no? Cultural solidarity. And that's what we want to have, to unite ourselves, not fight each other. Muslims and Christians, no. We have to unite culturally. So malaking issue yan. Kasi yan ang pinanggagalingan ng discriminations, biases, and prejudice. Diyan nagagaling yan because of people who cannot, they don't have an idea of the culture of encounter. Tayo din dapat i-practice natin yung cultural solidarity niyan sa ating pagtuturo because naintindihan natin culture of encounter. Our encounter with our students and their encounter with us. So how do we patch that? How do we make them understand the value of values education, the value of GMRC, if we cannot unite with them on certain things? Sana maintindihan natin ang culture of encounter between the students. You can only have this based on your experience of where they are and what they are doing right now. There you will encounter them in their journey in life. Okay ba yun? Okay, and this unity therefore will bring us to our harmony with the earth. This is a very concept, this is a very trending element and concept for global, no? That we have to take care of our climate, no? We have to take care of our environment. Ngayon, siguro itong mga ito yung we destroyed, no? Mother Earth. That's why Mother Earth is revolting. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng iba't ibang viruses because we have forgotten to balance and to harmonize ourselves where we came from. Remember, we came from the soil, and we were made out of the soil, and ginawa tayong figure of a human being, and then out of soil yan. So we forgot this relationship of our relationship as creature and creation. That is why the first time in the history of our religion as Catholic, or sorry for yung indulgence muna sa ibang mga religion, we have this Laudato Si, no, encyclical of the Holy Father regarding common home. In Latin, we call it Domus Communis, common home. The earth is a common home. We have to take care of the earth. We have to take care of what is for the next generation. Imagine, wala na silang tubig. They will curse us kasi inubos natin yung tubig, sinira natin yung lupa, at sinira natin yung climate and everything. So this is about time siguro na tinuturuan din tayo with this pandemic and we have to harmonize and balance ourselves with not only with the Creator through our prayers, but also we as creature of the Creator and creation. So manlilikha, nilikha, at sannilikha. Dapat magkasama yung tatlo to harmonize. And to be able, again, if we harmonize with nature, and that's part of our nature, then we go back again to inner peace. Balik tayo doon. Cycle ulit yan. Okay? So these are very important. I hope you can localize this. You can also get examples from other countries. But these are issues now being talked about globally. These are very important concerns and issues, no? Kaya yung vaccine na yan, kasama yan dyan. So, kasama yan, being compassionate and just, no? To dismantle the culture of violence. Vaccine yan. And give life. And give unity to the country. Para hindi tayo bumagsak economic. And therefore, all of these issues niyan, yung ating darating na vaccine, hopefully sana, maging siya, very effective, and hopefully we have to be joyful in our hope, and we have to be patient in our affliction. and faithful in our prayer. Perhaps we can make a better world, a better tomorrow, and a better Philippines, because we are concerned with all these issues around us, not only domestically, but also not only in Asia, but globally. That's the global education that we have to teach to the students, the concepts. The happiest people are not the givers. Are the givers pala, sorry. Not the takers. Ayun. Ay, papagod na siguro ako. Kanina pa kasi ako nagtotalk. The happiest people are the givers, not the takers. When we have inner peace, we are givers. When we have compassion and justice, we are givers. When we dismantle the culture of violence, we are givers. When we promote human rights, we are givers. When we promote cultural solidarity, we are givers. We are not takers. And finally, when we harmonize ourselves with who we are, where we came from, with nature, then we are truly happy people because we are givers and not takers. Now, pasok na tayo sa ikatlo. Ikatlo naman, transformative education. Tapos na tayo sa peace education, global. Let's go to transformative. Ito medyo mahirap-hirap. Mahirap ituro ito kasi this will entail a lot of inner understanding of how to teach the values. So there's a difference between critical thinking, involves a wide range of thinking skills leading towards desirable outcomes, and reflective thinking focuses on the process of making judgment about what has happened. So reflective thinking make judgment na tinuturo. While critical is we have this comes what we want. Pero sa reflective, may kasama yan yung pagkatao ng taong nagninilay, naglilimi-limi, nagmumuni-muni. I wrote here my article that I presented in Bangkok, so APAID, reflective pedagogy, making meaning in experiential-based learning to live together as a representative from Eastern University when I presented my paper. Now, why is my symbol of peace butterfly? Because butterfly, meron siya metamorphosis, may transformation. That's why it's transformative education. So we hope to transform our students from caterpillar into real butterfly, beautiful butterfly, graceful butterfly. Na sana maging butterfly sila, hindi kinakatakutan, minamahal. Meron ba dito natatakot sa butterfly? Ang ganda-ganda ng butterfly, no? That's why during our 20th anniversary, I asked for 20 butterflies na ipalipad ng Angel C. Palanca Peace Foundation. Okay, so how do we do that? This transformative education, how do we implement this? I'll borrow again from a famous psychologist. I don't know if you have heard about him, si Dr. Gary Chapman, about languages of love. Okay, so yun. So siguro, I will use this now as a tool for us to understand how to teach GMRC. Again, I would like to repeat, hindi lang concepts. Ang concepts ang daling i-lecture. Pero mahirap kung yan ay kumapit o pumasok o naintindihan o na-internalize o isa sa buhay. Mahirap yun. This is the only way. Perhaps this is a method. I'm using the theory of Dr. Gary Chapman for his languages of love for my transformative education. Okay, so what is meron daw 5. There are 5. So let's take it one by one. Mabilis lang. Yun. The first language of love is words of affirmation. Alam niyo ngayon, siguro yung mga estudyante, kailangan nila talaga ma-affirm. Kasi hirap na hirap din sila sa kanilang virtual classes. So, kailangan dagdagan natin yung mga encouraging words, na ma-encourage sila, words of affirmation. Uy, ang galing-galing naman ninyo. Uy, sana magawa ninyo ha. Ayan, alam ko magagawa ninyo. Kasi kayo yung mga batang mababait. Ayan. So all these words of affirmation can help, no? So hindi ka nambobola pero you are strengthening what they have. So kung may nakikita kayong mga, especially pag nagsulat na sila ng reflection paper, yung mga attributes, yung mga characters nila na magaganda, please don't fail to mention it. Always mention the words of affirmation. At pag narinig ng bata yan, mas gaganahang mag-aral. At mas madali niyang intindihin yung tinuturo mo. Kasi nga, they trust you. Because you're always, from your mouth, hindi words of curse, pero words of affirmation. You affirm them kung saan sila magaling. Okay? Kahit na hindi magaling, pero meron naman din dyan strength. Kasi ngayon, hindi naman isa lang intelligence, right? What we are teaching now is multiple intelligence. So maraming, iba, hindi lang how to memorize, but also how to look at life and how they grew up in their families. Okay? So, konti namang dyan, encouragement. Siguro sa first time na makita mo sila, ayaw ko, kamusta na ba kayo? So, kung first time nakita mo sila sa class, kamusta na kayo? That's words of affirmation. Ako, when I started, kamusta na kayo? Umiiyak. Gugulat ka, umiiyak itong mga bata. Saan kayo nang galing to? May mga hugot-hugot ka agad. Samantalang sinabi ko lang, kamusta kayo? See? Very simple words of affirmation. But bumibigay na yung mga bata, naiyak sila. Kasi sabi ni Sir, wala pong nagsasabi sa amin yan. Lagi po, okay class, we begin. Nakalimutan yung words of affirmation. So yun po, alala lang natin. So siguro if they're pampered with that, they will understand better what we are trying to teach them. Number 2, the second language of love. Pwede din ito sa mga boyfriend, girlfriend, okay? Mga relational, family, hindi lang ito para sa estudyante. Pero we are using it for the students. Acts of service. Though, how do you show these acts of service to your students and how do you extract it from the student? Remember, education means what? It's the Latin word educare, which means to extract from the students. Diba? We extract. We don't spoon feed them. We extract their ideas para mas alam natin kinroses, no? Chew, na masticate ang ideas and they come out with their own out of what we have given them. It's that spoon feeding. Spoon feeding is that education. But what is important, ito yung GMRC and values educators, we should be able to extract what is inside the student. It's our act of service to them. And what is that act of service also? They know that you are what? You are following what you teach. Your models of what you teach as values. You incorporate and integrate the values. The way you talk, the way you think, and the way you act. And these acts of service, napakasimple lang nito. Hindi ka nila makakalimutan kasi meron ka nagawang service sa kanila. Ano yun? Naparama mo sa kanila yung language of love. So one of these languages of love is acts of service. Kaya yung mga marunong maglingkod, yun ang minamahal ng tao at ginagawang bayani. Kasi marunong silang maglingkod nang walang kapalit. So sa classroom naman, ano ito mga acts of service nito? See, teach them na, tinulungan mo ba si kaklase mo, natulungan mo? So yun, so praise them for that. Na meron silang nagagawang tulong at nagiging tahimik sila, hindi sila magulo at nakikinig sila. Those are acts of services. So if you point that out always from them and they realize that you're attentive, that you're not there only to scold them, but also to what? Really teach them, and you leave your heart prints in their lives. Third one, receiving gifts. Ano naman yung receiving gifts na yan? No? Kayo nakatanggap na kayo ng regalo nyo na hindi nyo type. No? Minsan meron tayo regalo na hindi natin type. Bigay sila ng bigay, kala nila gusto natin. At hindi nila tayo kilala. Kung kilala nila tayo, tamang gift, regalo ibibigay sa atin. So mag-ingat kayo. Sometimes your gifts are not language of love. So we have to be careful. Na sana mas kilala natin yung binibigyan natin. Yung appropriate sa kanya. Kasi yung feelings nung nagtumatanggap ay, my God, kilala niya ako. Kailangan ko itong binigay niya. See? So receiving gifts is also a language of love according to Dr. Gary Chapman. So it also shows you what is most appropriate to the person. Kasi kilala mo yung tao. Kilala mo yung tao. Kaya alam mo kung ano dapat mo i-regalo. Hindi bigay ka lang ng bigyan ng regalo para magbigyan mo lang ng regalo. Sometimes may gano'n, no? Nag-usap na yung dalawang pare, sabi nila, mga pare daw, every Christmas, receive nila socks, yung barong, at yun na, ulit, medyas, barong, panyo, yung lagi na-receive nila. Sana meron tayong touch of knowing the person, no? And really give them gifts which they will truly appreciate. They appreciate because they know you know them. Kilalanan natin ang ating mga kapwa, lalo mga estudyante natin. What gifts do we give them? Do we really know them? Next, number 4, ay quality time. Yes. Yan, importante. Baka naman kayo absent, virtual na absent pa rin. So, huwag naman late. Huwag din pa late. Okay? So, yan ang being to have quality time. Ngayon, kailangan ng mga estudyante yan. My God. Sa virtual ngayon, kailangan nila yung quality time with you. Kasi minsan nga, kahit hindi ka magturo, magkwento-kwento ka lang. They appreciate it. They remember it. And it will enter into their heart. And they never forget it the whole time in their lives. And they will write it in the reflection paper na mayroon ka kinuwento na nakalimutan mo na. Kwento lang yun. Hindi ka naman nagtuturo, nagkukwento ka lang. Pero yun ang mas nakaalala nila kasi that was a quality time. That was just not a time. But sometimes with quality time, we waste time with quality time. Okay? And that's another language of love. And the students will know, my God, si ma'am talaga, si sir, love kami. Kasi meron siyang words of affirmation, meron siyang acts of service, meron siyang receiving gifts, meron siyang gifts sa amin. The mere presence, your presence, no? And the quality of time you spent with them. They will remember that, no? And then, yung very presence, nakikita kanila that you're there. And then, finally, yung physical touch. Ngayon, bawal ito, wala tayong physical touch. Pero in the meta programs of understanding ourselves, tatlo yun. Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Ito yung touch, no? The element of touch. Ito, ginagawa ito sa classroom pag ikaw umiikot, lumalakad-lakad ka sa loob ng klase. Pag dinadaanan mo yung mga estudyante, they feel already your presence. They know that you love them. They know you care for them by your mere passing by through them. Okay? Kaya maganda yung umiikot-ikot din sa classroom, din lagi na nakaupo. You're isolating yourself. You have also sometimes to also get into their space to let them understand that you really, kasi may mga estudyante na physical touch ang kanilang language of love. Kasi kahit nabigyan mo yan ng regalo, sabihin mo, I love you, walang effect dahil hindi mo naman siya tinouch, hindi mo naman siya kinis, beso-beso, o yun ang gusto niya kasi ang language niya ay physical touch. So may mga estudyanteng ganun, na pag na-touch mo siya, okay, na-pat mo siya sa shoulder, hindi na niya nakakalimutan yun. At saka gusto na niya mag-aral sa iyong klase kasi you are a real teacher, not only in words, but in deeds as well. Okay? So perhaps this transformation that we want to inculcate in the students, the transformative education, is not how the volume of knowledge we impart, but how can we transform them? How can we touch them through their different languages of love? Perhaps your student is number 1. Kailangan niya affirmation, auditory . Ayun naman, gusto niya yung nakikita niya, you love them, you serve them. Ayun. So iba-iba yan. Minsan, isang tao, 4 o 5 meron. Minsan naman, 2. So you have to understand which language do they really understand. And you have to understand them from where they are coming from. Okay? So meron din tinatawag na primary language, secondary language. Sana makuha natin yung primary language na estudyante that we're teaching in GMRC and values education. Okay. And secondly, yung reflective piece, kaya sabi ko nga, hindi tayo pwedeng magturo lang ng memorization, concepts, and dami-dami natin tinuturo values. Kailangan makita natin kung ito ba ay tumatalab sa kanila. At ang pagtatalaban ay through reflection. So the methodology actually that I devised in my dissertation sa aking reflective piece, no? Sabi ng aking advisor, huwag gamitin yung pagmumuni-muni, pagmumuni-muni, pagbubulay-bulay. So ginamit yung 1950s na term, pinaglimian, paglilimi. Pinaglimian kapayapaan. So how do you use reflection in order to arrive at peace? Tayo din, di ba? Pag tayo nagdinilay-nilay, pahingalay nga, pahinga at pagninilay will bring us perhaps to the journey of peace. Inilahad sa pag-aaral ang pagdalumat at kahalagahan ng edukasyong pangkapayapaan at paglilimi. So anong pagtatalaban nito sa mga mag-aaral upang matamo ang kapayapaan? Ang ganitong pananaw ay hindi madaling maunawaan kung hindi ito mahiwatigan sa larangan ng karanasan. Malaki ang gampanin ng karanasan para sa daloy ng proseso ng paglilimi. So importante yung karanasan ng estudyante. That's why we have to ask them to write reflection papers so that they can express their experiences of the concept you're teaching them. How do they apply it in their own lives? Kailangan makita mo yung application, hindi lang memorization. Because unless it is applied, there will be no transformation and we failed transformative education. So ang magitan, ito yung importante na line I want to emphasize, no? Yung pagdanas at pagdama ng karanasan. So in reflection paper, you'll find this. Paano sila dumadaan? Ano na dinanas nila? Ano na dama nila sa karanasan nila na hugot sa kanilang buhay? At paano ito nakikipagtalaban sa konseptong itinuturo mo sa kanila? Maaring makarating ang mga mag-aaral sa pagtatalaban ng kanilang kamalayan. Very important, consciousness. It has to enter into the consciousness, the self and the others. Anong parte ng ambag ng kapwa para sa kanila? Anong dapat malaman nila sa sarili nila? Anong kamalayan ang dapat nilang ilabas, nawaan tungkol sa kanilang sarili at sa kanilang pakikipagkapwa-tao na magbibigay hugis at laman sa kapayapaan. And that can only be seen in reflection papers. So if you really want to know what's happening, ask them to write 1 page lang naman, reflection paper. So you will understand. At sabihin niyo sa kanila, huwag silang magkopya sa, malalaman mo naman kung kinopya lang o ginugol lang. Kasi hindi mo makikita yung, pagdanas at pagdama ng karanasan. Wala yun. Hindi mo mapifake yun. Pag talagang galing sa iyo, it will come out naturally. Okay? Saka, ang antas ng kamalayan at sarili at kapwa, importante yan. Is that clear? Klaro na ba? So, kung yan ay gagawin natin, mahirap gawin, pero hindi imposible. Yan ay isang paraan kung paano natin malalaman kung ating tinuturo ay transformative, baka informative lang. Then we failed. As a values education educator, and as edukasyon sa pagkakatao educator, and as GMRC educator. We failed because we end up in the wrong side of the bed, so to speak. No, doon tayo napunta sa informative. Madali naman ituro yun eh. Kaya nga sa atin, hindi tayo pwede maging lecturer. Pag tayo ay GMRC and so on, tayo ay facilitator. So learn how to become facilitator. So we are real facilitators of learning. We are not the master of learning. We facilitate, allow them to journey, explore, and discover their consciousness, themselves, and how they relate with others. So, ito yung maganda pakinggan, ha? Madaling maging tao Okay? Alam niyo na susunod, right? Mahirap magpakatao. O ngayon may dadagdag pa ako sa pangatlo. Mas mahirap makipagkapwa-tao. Minahal mo na, inibig mo, binigay mo lahat, tapos tatry daw rin ka rin, iiwan ka rin. Masakit. Masakit ka. Mahirap talagang makipagkapwa-tao. Mas madali ang mag-isolate na lang. Pero hindi dapat yon. Okay? Yon. So what are we what do we take a look at? So ang sinasabi ko kanina, no, how do we bring peace? Because we change their views. No, dapat palitan natin yung mga mali nilang pananaw. If you want to teach values, you have to change their views. Sana yung tama, ituro natin yung tama. And then from the views, they'll be able to understand the values. Pag hindi natin napalitan ng views, hindi tayo makakarating sa values. Lahat ng values na tinuturo natin, tatalsik lahat. Pagtatalbugan. Kasi hindi siya nakalapat. Kasi hindi na bago yung views. Kaya sa views, kailangan magtanong kayo. Kailangan magsulat kayo ng reflection paper para ma-discover ninyo kung talagang alam. Ay hindi lang alam, naintindihan at isinasabuhay. Then our values concepts will just up in the air and not understood and not live out. And if they keep on doing these values, hopefully 10 years after, 20 years after you see them, they would still remember what you teach. Isang bagay lang naturo mo sa kanya. Minsan nga, kung ano lang naturo mo, yung hindi mo pa, wala pa sa lesson plan mo na pumasok lang sa isip mo, yung naalala niya. And the person will tell that to you. Oo. I have a student, nung nagre-research ako sa archives of the Archdiocese of Manila, nag-research ako doon. Tapos may tumabi sa akin, yung director ng archives of the Archdiocese of Manila, Archdiocesan Archives. Tumabi. Sabi, sir, sabi ko, ano kaya ito? Kailangan nito. Hindi ko alam pare. Sabi niya, sir, sabi ko, yes. Kala ko may kailangan. Baka hindi mo na mag-research. Sir, estudyante niyo po ako. Ano? Kailan? Sabi niyo nung high school sa Ateneo de Manila. Tagal na nun ah. Ilang taon ka na ba? Sabi niya, sir, naalala ko pa yung tinuro mo sa akin sa history. Sabi ko, sige nga. Malaman ko nga, baka naman bobola mo lang ako. Anong tinuro ko na natatandaan mo? My God! Sinabi niya sa akin. Tapos na-recall ko pa ulit na 1980s pa yun. Noon ako na my age. High school pa yun. High school siya naging estudyante ko. Pari na siya ngayon. Siya ng director at saka nag-ano na siya. History subject yun, ano? Nag-ano na siya ngayon. Doctorate in history. Kasi nagustuhan niya yung tinuro ko sa kanya. See? So you will reap that several years afterwards. Hindi ko na siya matandaan. Nakikilala pa niya ako. Si Father Alberto ito. No? ng Archdiocese of Manila. So, naalala niya ang aking tinuro sa kanya. Can you imagine? I was so happy. Sabi ko, nga sir, nung nakita kong application, kasi nag-a-apply pa doon kasi Spanish lahat yung mga documents doon. You have to know how to read Spanish before you get into the archives. By the way, huwag kayo pupunta sa archives na English na hinahanap yung libro. Puro Spanish yun. Kasi nag-research naman ako sa Venerable Hermanidad del Santo Cristo de Longos. So I have to read in Spanish. Yon. And I have to ask application muna. They will approve the application. That's the only time you will research. You will not be able to research without approval. At kung nakita niya picture ko, nakita niya pangalan ko, naalala niya ako. See? So we will reap what we have planted. The heart prints will be reaped, harvested several years afterwards. Because it remains a virtue. Lahat ng tinuro natin sa values education, lahat ng tinuro natin sa GMRC, sana maging isang virtue sa kinabukasan. At hindi lang maging values na pinahalagahan ng mga bata, sana yun ay nasa katuparan din sa araw-araw nilang pamumuhay. Being a family person, family man, family woman, lahat ng itinuro natin na ating pinunla at inasik ay bumunga in the future. Okay? Okay ba yun? Gising pa ba kayo? Okay, so in other words, informative dapat doesn't end up informative, introspective. What do you mean by the word introspective? Introspective means yung ano, yung ating reflection, yung kamalayan sa sarili at sa kapwa. And finally, transformation. Sana magkaroon ng transformation. Ibig sabihin, kaya nila na isabuhay, pinahalagahan nila. Hindi yung just wasted, forgotten, and up in the air. So, hindi na tayo matagumpay dyan. Tayo a failure in our being an educator of transformation. That's up for peace. And of course, all of this will give them peace. That's why they remember it. Patandaan nito ha. My beloved, my beloved educators. Kakaedad na kami, no? Kayo nang papalit sa amin. So, what we are telling you, sana everything ends up giving peace to the students because the values we have been teaching them. Okay? Yun. Ito naman 9 noble virtues. Dali naman tandaan yan, no? Tinuturo nyo na yan. Courage. Of course, you have to teach them courage. Yun. Eh, plano na ngayon, nanghihina ang mga tao na walang pag-asa, no? And then discipline. Kailangan yan. Ayaw magsuot ng face mask. Lagi na labas yung ilong. Walang disiplina. Ayaw magugas ng kamay. Napaparanoid na daw sila. Anong gusto mo? Maging paranoid o abo na lang? So mamimili tayo kung ano talaga dyan. Fidelity, truthfulness, honor. Yan na nawawala. Wala ng palabra de honor. Hospitality, that's one thing, no? And industriousness. We have to teach them how to value work. Because work makes you human. Perseverance, yan. Importante yan. Perseverance creates determination. Self-reliance, truth. So basahin niyo na lang yung mga taloob niyan. But all of this, I think you will be teaching it, of course, kasama yung nationalism, all of that. So lahat yan, ito naman yung universal. No? This is a universal values, virtues that we have also to emphasize inside the classroom. Okay? So ito na yung reflection. So for you, peace is absent in my family, friends, school, church, self. Because. Bakit kaya absent ang peace? Kanina, how do you make your peace present? This time naman, why is it absent in your family? What's the matter? What's the problem? What's the challenge? Bakit hindi magkaroon ng kapayapaan sa iyong pamilya, sa iyong classroom, sa iyong sarili, at sa marami pang bagay? So, nilay-nilay tayo. Alam niyo yung reflection. Kaya nga ang aking pinopromote ngayon, ang grupo ay Pahingalay, Prayer, Faithliners. Yun ang grupo namin. We are praying for the frontliners. We're also praying for the homeliners, mga taga sa bahay. Kami naman faithliners. So pahingalay. So yung mga members ko, pinapa-reflect ko sila sa nangyayari. Sa ano yan? Ministry on healing. I'm now, tinaas ko na ang task ng aking peace education. Ang tawag ko na doon ay healing peace. So we are now getting into how do we heal through peace to the people in the hospitals, the patients. How do we address them in their sufferings? How do we lessen their sufferings? Make them understand why they have to suffer, and what is the role of Christ in their suffering? Ayan. Kagagaling ko lang doon. Kakatok ko pa lang kanina on the healing peace. That's my new pinagkakabalan ngayon, healing peace. Okay. So, I would like to end. Ayan na. End na tayo. Nagpakita na si Sir Floyd. Kailangan mag-end na ako. Sorry, hindi, biro lang. Let us pause and reflect for a moment on the statement made by the matriarch of our values education in the Philippines. So, please pray. No? Yeah. So by October, we'll be celebrating her death anniversary again. She had been a matriarch. So hindi lang siya pangkaraniwang values educator, siya ay matriarch in Asia, considered matriarch. Quoted from her speech, ang title ng kanyang speech, Educating Children to Live Together. So let's read it together. Okay, tabid natin ng konti, natatakpan yung aking masyado mabasa. Ayan, right? What is the use of our children growing up to be highly intelligent, knowledgeable, and skillful if they will not be able to live and work with others? If they grow up to be self-centered, my God, egoistic individuals instead of loving and caring persons. Today's increasing incidence of violence, cruelty, and aggression flashed daily in the screen before our young children. The absurds of crime among juveniles, the ease with which guns and weapons of mass destruction can be accessible, the rise of drug abuse and teenage suicides make it imperative for us. He's now addressing all of us. GMRC educators, values education educators, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, to integrate peace education into all subjects of the school curricula at all levels, as well as in non-formal programs for the continuing education of all adult citizens in the community. End of quote. Okay, virtual applause naman kay Madam. The last time I saw her was 2008. Yun ang last na ano niya. Ayan, nagpalakpak si ano. Last na nakita ko siya personally was sa UMac, University of Makati. That was her last public appearance. After that, ayaw na niya kasi hindi na daw siya beautiful. Pero I was beside her. I felt her presence. Until now, I can still feel her presence in UNESCO APNIEV. So yun naman ang legacy niya sa amin. Kahit hindi ko na siya nakita later on, pero I can still appreciate her famous quotation, "The heart of education is the education of the heart." That is why we have to leave that heart prints to our students, my beloved, mahal naming mga nagtuturo, guro ng edukasyon sa pagpapakatao na ay mapadama natin ang pagmamahal ng isang guro sa kanyang mga estudyante. Nang lalo pa nilang malaman, magkaroon ng kamalayan na hindi lang pagulang ang nagmamahal. Ang mga guro rin ay nagmamahal sa kanila bilang loco parentis, second parents to them. Okay? So yun. And then, siyempre, nakalimutan ko pindutin last time. Salamat po. Ayan, salamat po. Yun. Pata-pata pa ang picture ko dyan. Salamat po. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. Stay healthy and stay safe. At sana say hello to your students from me. Okay? Thank you.
Ayan. Muli po, Dr. Wilson Chua.
Yes.
Muli po, salamat sa araw na ito na ibinigay mo po sa amin. Kagaya po nung unang batch, ganun din po yung binigay nyo. Kasi baka sabihin ng iba, kulang. Hindi po, parehas po yung content po natin. Opo sir, maraming salamat po mula po sa DepEd Region 3 at sa DepEd Tapat. Yung mga taga-ano po sir, nandito rin eh. Tagig-Pateros po. Dito po sila Sir Perdy po.
Oo, mabuhay kayong lahat.
Muli po sir, maraming salamat po. May mga questions po ba kayo?
Yeah,
tayo. Opo, siguro kabang nag-iisip po tayo ng tanong, si sir po kasi kanina nabanggit ko, siya po yung doon sa may palangka, yung sa essay for peace kasi taon-taon po nagkakaroon po ng yung sa contest, di ba po sir?
Yes. Opo. Pero ngayon hindi na. Pinas over ko na kasi ilang years na din ako, 18 years na rin. So I pass it over to the director, program director na ang nag-handle. Yun. Pero of course, they asked me for pa rin kung ano mga theme for the year. Yeah. Pero tagal ko na hinawakan ng chairman. Medyo nagpahipahinga na ako. Marami na kasi akong iba pang inaasikaso, pero of course I'm happy na I was there as a chairman since 2004 until 2018. But I'm still with the Angel C. Palanca Foundation program Peace Program Foundation. But I have my own new group now, yung Salam at ASEAN. Yun naman ang pinaporma ko. Yun naman inaano ko for Okay.
Okay po. Siguro po kung wala na po tayong tanong, muli po, Dr. Chua,
Okay.
sa ulitin po, maraming salamat
Yes,
po.
I will always make myself available, lalo na sa mga values education, GMRC, yan ang ating mga mahal sa buhay.
Sige po sir, muli po maraming salamat po sir.
Sila nang susunod sa amin, sa mga yapak namin, of course. Sila na yung papasok, kami naman yung unti-unti. Okay, so ganun naman talaga ang buhay. Pero we're happy that we are able to meet them.